Hello friends, this is Music Man from his man cave. I just got back from vacation. Before I went to vacation, I took on a huge plumbing project. I had a bunch of galvanized steel that was plugged up, that was rusty, that was dripping and leaking. So I decided to go ahead and replace it. So what did I do? I looked at my best options, and 5 years ago, a plumber came in and they put a new bathroom installation for us, and they used this stuff called PEX. And so it's been good for 5 years. So, let's talk about it. Music Man is Man Cave coming at you right now. Hello, Music Man from his Man Cave. Well, with plumbing, I've had a long history of using it. When I first started, I started with copper, with this tool that would flange it like a trombone. And then you would you'd have this fitting, and you'd screw it together, and there it was. And that was pretty cool stuff. Not bad at all. However, when our house was rebuilt, that entire part was yanked off, and the guy put probably who knows what new copper in or whatever. So then I lived in a mobile home, and the galvanized steel was always freezing and plugging up in the mobile home I lived in. And so what I would do is I would have to get under there and replace sections of it, and I noticed that it would have a lot of rust in it. This was rusting from the inside out of the galvanized steel. Sorry for the distraction here, but the lighting is not quite right. Then I moved into this house, and I had, guess what, all three. Oh, that's not true. One time in that old house also I ran PVC to a new shower. CPVC is excellent stuff. It's pretty nifty. You just sand it. You put this purple stuff, cement on it, put it together. It has a chemical reaction. It's set. CPVC is pretty neat stuff. Well, just when you think they can outdo themselves, they have. After that shower installation, I was watching this plastic pipe called PEX. It's some kind of cross-linked poly whatever. And watching it with great interest, I was really interested in how it was going to stand up. And after 5 years, it still looks like brand new. So I decided just to cut all the galvanized steel out and replace it with this stuff, PEX. And there's plenty of videos on here about this stuff. This is PEX B. I didn't go with the A. It's more expensive. I didn't need an oxygen barrier or whatever, so I just went with the cheap stuff. PEX is pretty simple. I did a lot of research on this. Plumbers hate it. Home Depot and do-it-yourselfers love it. That's all you need to know. The claims are against PEX is that, first of all, rats are going to crawl into your house and eat it, and mice are going to eat it, and so forth. I read one that a lady, she went on vacation, and when she got back, a mouse had chewed through a line to her dishwasher, and she had a flood in her house. Well, all I have to say about that is I've never left my water on when I'm going to be gone for an extended period of time. There's this shut-off valve. It's yellow, and you turn it this way. And I don't care if you have copper, whatever. There's still a lot of washers. There's washers going to your washing machine, hot and cold. And if one of those pops, one of those washers leaks, you got a mess. There's washers, the attachments to your hot water heater are these black washers, and if one of those pop or one of those go bad in that time that you're 7 days, your house will be mighty full of water. So I don't understand people that would leave their house anyway and leave their water on. So what I think about PEX, well, after installing it, I have to say it's pretty neat stuff. It's pretty simple. You can get different attachments. I went with the plastic. I read a lot on this dezinkification that goes on with the brass, and so I decided to go with the plastic, and see how it did. And I was surprised. It did an excellent job. Never did I have a bad crimp. Yeah, I'll show you how it works here. You just basically, a real short version. Well, and see, that's how easy it is. You put this copper washer on, a copper gasket on here. Just put it on there, just like that. Slide it on, And then you put this, whichever section you want, you bring this up to that first, about, I put it about this far away, right in there. And then I crimped it. You get this big tool, I borrowed it from the hardware store here, and then you just crimp it, and that is it. It ain't moving, it ain't leaking. It's amazing. And so that's what I did. And I can tell you I've never had a plumbing project. I've soldered a lot of copper. If it's soldering, it's what you call it with flux and whatever. And I love copper. I think it's great stuff, and most of my house is copper, except for the middle section I told you it was galvanized steel that was leaking and dripping and whatever. And so I've always, whenever I soldered copper, you just hope that you don't have a pinhole leak somewhere, you know, through the flux, and I always did. 8 times out of 10 I got it right. And a professional plumber would say, well, you're not very good at it. You need to get a hotter blowtorch or whatever. But I can tell you it's a lot more convenient than having a blowtorch in one hand and this in the other hand and sitting there and trying to, it's just unbelievable how simple this really is, to crimp this stuff down and be done with it. Now, there's another thing. I needed to connect it into my copper. And so there's these neat new things out. And I used them because they had been tested by a friend of mine. I'm not that courageous. A friend of mine had used it for 4 or 5 years. I don't know what is going on with the lighting here. It's like possessed. So a friend of mine used it for 4 or 5 years, and this stuff here is called a shark bite. And I'd never, you know, I watched with great interest about these because all the plumbers, of course, claim that they leak because they have a washer in here, or what they call an O-ring, same thing as a washer, compression O-ring, whatever. The issue I have with that, and I'll talk about it in another video, is you already have washers everywhere. You have washers to your hot water tank for the hot water fittings, unless you do it, you know, the way I did it, and they lasted 15 years with no problem. You have washers to your garden hose. You have water blasting back into your house all the time. You have washers to many things in your house. You know, you can name even more. List them down below. There's lots of washers and O-rings and kind of things in your house. So I don't understand why they're freaking out about it, saying that copper is superior and all that. It doesn't really matter. Most of my plumbing is highly accessible. So all you have to do with these, you have to make sure you get them the right distance. You got your push, and then you go even further, all the way. And let me tell you something. It's not coming off. Not a drip. You want evidence? I've never had copper do that for me. And maybe it's just because I'm a do-it-yourselfer plumber. I've never, not a leak, not a drip on any of these things. It's unbelievable. And so I was amazed. And I'm not easily amazed. And then to take it off, basically, and you'll see a lot of videos on this, you slip the tool over it, and you hold that tool against that, and then you can get it off. But man, look there, those teeth, they bite in. Those teeth bite in, and it ain't going nowhere with those stainless steel teeth. There's a video here on YouTube where they literally pick up almost 300 pounds, and that's 7 times the pressure, if you actually know mathematics, that it would ever receive with water pressure. And then they pick up, literally with the copper, they pick up 400 pounds. It's right here on YouTube. The video is awesome. And so this stuff is pretty good. Am I worried about it going bad? Now, no. I'm not worried about PEX going bad, and the reason I'm not worried about it going bad is because it's easy to run. The stuff was very easy to run. The hard part was getting the galvanized steel out of the way. So I'll let you know if I have any leak spring or anything, but I don't suspect that I will. Pretty amazing stuff. It's been tested. It's under a lot of scrutiny right now. So if there's any failure, the contracting plumbers are going to be jumping on it big time. Why? Because they don't want guys like me being able to do it. You know, they want to have to pay you, and you're probably saying, that's cheap, $75 an hour to come out. And I had a friend of mine come by just to help me remove a seat one time, and I thought you know, he may even just say, oh, forget it, it was cheap and nothing. No, he charged me $50 for being in my house for 5 minutes. I kid you not. He said, I actually gave me a deal. He normally charges $75 just to drive to your house. So you think that I like PEX. And I like, so far, so good. It's been in my house now for several weeks, and not a drip, not a leak, nothing. And I don't suspect there will be. My evidence, I already have plastic running to my refrigerator, ice maker. And it's been, we've had that refrigerator since we bought the house in 1999. Has it leaked? No. And it's just compression fittings. In fact, the tube in the middle to keep the water clean, you know, for making ice, it's a tube thing. You just slide the plastic in both ends and it compresses. And I've never had it leak in 15 years. So I think the failure rate of PEX, and these plumbers being so upset about it, I think it's unwarranted. Seems to be pretty good stuff to me. Anyway, I would not put sharp bites inside where they're not accessible. And I would definitely inspect them. And I'd inspect your plumbing anyway. Go in with a flashlight and look at your plumbing every now and then and make sure everything looks good. At least probably once a year I would look at it. And if it's inaccessible, I probably would definitely only crimp it with these. I wouldn't put sharp bites inside the wall. Just me. You know, because sharp bites are easy and fast to replace, but I wouldn't put something like that inside the wall where it's inaccessible. It just makes sense to me. They say it's certified for it, but I wouldn't do it. Anyway, more later. Take care. Music Man out. I'm sorry. Here's what that tool looks like. I didn't really show it to you. You just slide it over the pipe with the sharp bite like this. Put that, unless you want to hurt your fingers, put that toward the sharp bite. You pull it off. So there you go. And see, this is a side that also just demonstration. You want to clean this up. You never want to slide this inside of a sharp bite. You want to deburr it, as they call it. You want to clean that up. Just a couple more little pointers. Take care. Bye.